Hello everybody, it is another wonderful day on the Bedrock Guide, and we have some big things to do today. They're gonna have to do with mega farm storage, and it's gonna have to do with this room because we need this room to be functional. In the last episode, we made a super duper fast bee powered crop farm, and right now its drops are just coming right here and falling down. If you don't recognize this, well, that's because we added it in on a live stream and we made some changes. Previously, all of our drops are coming through here. There's still some remnants of this with that dropper right there. The farm above, the crop farm, was sending all the drops down. And a lot of times they would get caught around the edge right here. And it kind of made me think the higher we go with this structure, the more near impossible it's going to be to use the center of the building as a drop-off point without major changes to a lot of different things that I don't know is going to be possible with how some of these farms are going to be made up. That being said, we made changes. This water used to flow that way into that right there. Now the water flows this way into a little tube. That tube sends the bamboo drops over this way into this little like bump out that we added to the building. And you can see that little bump out we added right here in the back. I kind of just like squeeze it in between some of these arches right here. And what this is going to allow us to do is any farm that we add in, the level below us and all the levels we do above us, we're going to be able to shoot all the items into the back right here. And if I bring you underneath the farm here, you can see exactly how that's happening. All the mine carts have been changed to work off of a hopper minecart unloader. And then all of those drops come over through here. They end up going inside of this dropper right here. They follow the water stream down and they fall down the hole right here. And that hole leads to right here and unfortunately leads to absolutely nowhere. That right there, that tube is where the sugarcane falls down in the middle and comes across. I'm leaving that in the middle. That's just the best thing I have to do with it at this time. So what do we need to do? Well, we need to do quite a lot here because right now we're wasting all of these crops and potential drops, and we could be doing a lot more with this stuff. So what I want to do is twofold. I need to really just get all of these like item filters set up so we are like sorting for at least all this stuff, and then maybe we'll do these other ones as we go, or maybe not. Maybe I'll do them all at the same time. I don't know. It depends on how I feel. And I'm not going to go over that too much. We may kind of breeze over it as we've already done that in a previous episode. And then what we need to do is we need to figure out exactly the best method to move all of these crops and other things we're going to be doing here in this super duper mega farm around all of these areas, and then ultimately how we want that to look, because I think it'd be pretty cool to be able to look up like this and see the items flowing through the system. But as much as I want to see items, I don't know how realistic that's going to be, because this storage system is actually going to take a little bit of thought of exactly how we want it to work, because ultimately we're going to have so many items coming through the system here that just having hoppers alone won't move them fast enough. So we're going to need to be able to run the items over top of hoppers, have those hoppers it runs over top of only pick up the items that go in that particular category, which probably means something like this. It's going to have to be raised up, and we're going to have to give some further thought to exactly how we're going to be setting up our item sorting system. And then the ultimate goal, the end goal, is to make it to where these items will flow across, flow back across, and then eventually will flow across the back wall here, where we're going to have composters that will take any overflow that we get from any of the systems, because this is all crops at this point. That's the plan. Everything's going to be crops. It'll then compost any extra crops and then give us free bone meal on top of all the... That cow looked at me. That was a little strange. We're going to back up here. And he'll give me some bone meal on top of all the crops that we're getting once we fill all the crop slots. So our first step when we're thinking about doing something like this is we need to start with, I guess, the water flow. We need the water flow to go where we want and how we want, so we can then make the hoppers and the item sorter fit that. Okay, so this is where we're going to start. I know that I want to pull everything over here first. So we're actually going to scaffold up here, and I'm just going to kind of mark like where things are going to go before we actually start using the blocks that we intend on permanently using. So that's going to come over here like this, and it's going to flow across here. And we're going to fall down. So I know one thing that I want to do, and this is a trick I learned from watching others a long time ago. You can line up items to technically still be on this block path that'll go this way, but will also be on this block path too, allowing our hoppers to pick those items up. And let me see if I can kind of show you how that's done exactly. What it will require us to do is we're gonna have to change that water stream a little bit. But once we do, we're gonna be bending the items this way. And then we can just hit a ice wherever we happen to need to hit ice at, and we'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Water will flow 8 blocks, and it'll be from the block after the ice. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It'll flow that far, and then it'll need to hit ice again before it continues on. Let's box this area in. Let's put ourselves a hopper somewhere here to kind of test. And we need to allow water to flow here. We'll probably use a double chest here. I just need to be able to reach in here for a moment. We shall put a button right there. Change this to ice. And then water needs to go right there. And then what we should be able to do is something like this. Okay, a little bit of work has gone in and a little bit of confusion on my part trying to figure things out. And I do think I finally have it. So I was messing up before, and I was bringing the water on this side of the hoppers. And I quickly found out the problem of doing it that way is the fact that all the redstone needs to go on this side of the hoppers. So that doesn't work at all. Like 0% does that work. So not that big of a deal. We just put it on this side of the hopper, and when we curve it around up here, it'll always go on the chest side of the hopper. And I had to just do this little like hook in it just to make sure we hit the chest before we hit the hoppers here. And if I were to show you this, knock that out the way, step back here, you'll see that that will flow perfectly fine, and it will make its way into those hoppers and then make their way into the chest. Now I don't have any of the filters in yet, so I do need to block this back off for right this moment. But everything is working the way that it needs to, which means I can now go in and set up the item filters. I'll maybe do 1 or 2 on camera just to show you guys in case you need a little refresher. And after that, I think I'm just gonna go through and power through the whole room because I need not only this one to work, but I need the bamboo one to work too. And if I'm going that far, I might as well go this last little bit and go all the way. Okay, so filter, and I guess it is good we show this because this is going to be a little bit different. What we've shown before is if you have hoppers running the items down, and this time we're doing it with the items running across the top hoppers. So it is a little bit different of a setup than what we had down there. So what we want to do is we actually want to set up the filter in the top hopper, which means we're going to put our first block right there. And we're going to put a temporary block there and a block here, glass here, temporary block there, and a block there. And last one, we'll put a temporary block here and a block right there. It's the same setup as over there. It just sits one higher basically. So what this thing is going to do and how it's going to work is we're going to have a comparator here, which is going to read the items inside of this hopper. We'll have redstone dust here, here, and here, a torch here, and a repeater right there. So in its default state, that torch is on, that repeater is on, this block right here is powered, meaning that hopper is locked, meaning it will not accept any items from the hopper above it. Now, for this hopper above it, we need to make sure that no items we don't want inside of it can get into it. So we take our good old trusty sub to Prowl diamonds. That makes all of our farms work 176% faster. I see I want carrots here, so let me grab some carrots. This thing has just got a hodgepodge of stuff because we were doing testing earlier. I'm going to take carrots right here, and I'm going to put carrots in here, and I can put up to 41 carrots in there. Now, with 41 carrots in there, you see that 2 redstone dusts are lit up, the third is not. So whenever the 42nd carrot goes in, this redstone dust turns on, that torch turns off, that repeater turns off, that hopper unlocks, and the items can go in. So if I throw the rest of these in, for example, you will see that that has unlocked. The items are draining out. They're draining down into the system until this gets to 41, at which point the redstone signal is no longer strong enough to light this up. That turns back on. The repeater down there we can't really see turns back on, and that locks again. So that's basically how the system's going to work. It is the exact same thing in every single slot all the way down and all the way around. So I don't think there's much use for me to show you guys doing it again. If you're going to do a similar type setup, this is what you're going to need to do. And I guess just for clarification, in case anybody asks, since this top hopper only has carrots and sub to Prowl diamonds in it, it can accept nothing else but those items. Of course, we're not farming sub to Prowl diamonds here. If you found find out a way to do that, let me know. But the carrots will be able to drop in, and then the next items will continue to go down the chain, getting dropped into only the hopper that they're allowed to get dropped down into. With the way Bedrock Edition does work, these filters will sometimes skip items. So in our case here, it's not going to be a problem. We have numerous carrots, numerous potatoes, etc., etc. So we won't have to worry about the skipping so much until it's like all the way down full to this last one. But it doesn't skip many. You're maybe talking about one item per 64 or one item per 128. It's like one item per stack or two. It's not really that bad, especially for a farm that produces so much. And then in the end, everything that we have is going to go over to composters anyways. So any kind of overflow is just going to make us bone meal. So yeah, we're all good to go. I am now going to take on the very fun task of doing this entire storage room. All right, before I do the rest, I thought I'd show you what we have. Pretty much what you probably expected. We have item sorters all the way around over there and over here. They're sorted out according to what's in the plates down there. I don't know if those are going to stay there necessarily or not, but they're there right now. And if we could just wait for some hopper minecarts to return up from up above, we shall get to see. There we go. We got some carrots. We'll drop off in this first one. There we go. And yeah, that was the only one so far. I did test it. Everything does make it all the way down and everything does go into its slot. So time for me to get cracking on the rest. All right, I had to pull some little tricks here and let's see if they pay off. It took a few tries to like really get this thing right. But anyways, we kind of continued this side just like we did that side. But at the end here, instead of putting solid blocks, I needed to put something that would stop the water from spilling over the edge, but at the same time wasn't a solid block right here, because a solid block right there actually stops the items. Those items, since they just hang over a little bit onto those hoppers right there, they clip the solid block, so they get stuck. So I use signs, and then we just continued to flow the water just in whatever way would make sense to get it the same way as we have been, where everything's lined up by the chest. As you can see, we took that around and around and around, and we use signs across this whole gap back here, and all of that's kind of repetitive. But now for the moment of truth. I go all the way here to the very beginning. If I throw, let's say, a firework rocket right here, can we follow it all the way to the end? And there we go. That's the end right there. We're not running everything over wherever we're going to have the composters one day. We'll do that another time. It'll be a while before we need any of that anyways. But yeah, our item made it all the way around. And this, people, this is how you make a proper item transportation system. And why do we do it this way? This is kind of important. So pay attention to this part too, is the fact that this farm, with probably just, I mean, just the bamboo up there alone, if we turn that back on at some point, but especially as you combine all these different farms together, if you start shooting all of that stuff into hoppers only and use hoppers for transport, well, not only are you spending more resources because hoppers cost more than water streams do, but on top of that, the hoppers aren't anywhere near fast enough, not even a fraction of fast enough. So you would just basically stop up all of your items into the hoppers and stuff would just sit there and despawn, and the system would be a lot laggier and just all sorts of different like negative consequences if we happened to use hoppers instead. So I'm glad we did it this way. Also, whenever we finally do a ceiling, we'll have to find some kind of interesting way to show. We might not be able to show the stuff above the chest, that might be best hidden, but to at least show the like little pipes of items that are coming back and forth here might look kind of cool. So I'll be excited to do that once we get to that point. But this thing works, it's functional. And as you can see, we're getting a lot of items. Look at all these potatoes. Look at all the seeds and all the seeds. Not as many beetroot seeds for some reason. We're gonna have to check on that. I don't know why. There should be the same amount of beetroot seeds as there is regular seeds. We're gonna go. There's very few beetroots too. Let's go see what our farmer up there is doing. Where's my beetroot, guys? That's carrot. This is potato. Here's beetroot. It's all sitting. Okay. I made a way in here. I bet you something happened with the hopper minecart. How do I get in here? Look, there it is. It got stopped somehow. Must have been when I was unloading chunks or something. Look, there we go. Can you make your way back, please? Oh, no, I wanted you to go this way. There we go. Always give yourself a way to perform maintenance when needed. This is our way to do so. And in any event, I think that's going to be enough for today. And guess what? I have a little surprise behind me. It's been 2 days since I've got to recording this this little outro here, and some things inside have happened. I'm not going to show you that yet, though. We did that on stream. But I appreciate you guys coming today. Thank you so much. We have some big things that need to happen in the next episode. I don't know what it is yet. We could do storage over there. We could do a number of different things. So make sure you tune in. Make sure those notifications are turned on. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel. I thank you so much for being here today, and I'll see you next time. Bye.